Yeah, you may be seated. Jefferson County Court at Law, number two is now in session. The court is in session and calls number 24 CCCR 1096, case is styled State of Texas versus Kent Doan. Let the record reflect that Mr. Doan is present in court with his attorney Baltimore Zaniga. And let the record reflect that the state is present with Assistant Criminal District Attorneys, Attorney Cornelius Williams, sitting first chair, and Attorney Farrah Nixon, sitting second chair. State, are you ready?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready?
Defense is ready, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Williams, you may read, Mr.
Charge.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Okay, Mr. Williams, you may read the charge, and the defendant, would you please stand?
The state will defer to.
Read the information.
Yes, sir.
Would you please read the information?
In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, comes now the undersigned Assistant Criminal District Attorney in Jefferson County, Texas, on behalf of the state of Texas, and presents in and to the county court at law of Jefferson County, Texas, that in Jefferson County, Texas, Kent Doan, hereafter styled the defendant, heretofore on or about January 22nd, 2024, defendant knowingly and intentionally and without the consent of Cecilia Hope Short, hereinafter styled the complainant, and with the intent to arouse and gratify the sexual desires of any person, the defendant caused contact with the complainant's breast, buttocks, and vagina, to wit, by touching complainant's breast, buttocks, and vagina with his hands, against the peace and dignity of the state.
Okay. And Mr. Doan, how do you plead?
Pleading not guilty.
Okay, you may have your seat. You seated? At this time, Mr. Williams, would you like to make an opening statement?
Yes, sir. Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
A daughter, a sister, a friend, and a college student. A talented artist, a talented cellist. This is Cecilia Hope Short. Over there in Gentry Hall, on the campus of Lamar University, she was a student. She was an art student. And during this time as an art student, taking classes, she happened to meet someone during her first semester for UC. Cecilia graduated from Baytown Sterling in the spring of 2023. She entered Lamar University that fall. She entered Lamar with the hope of obtaining an art degree because she's an artist and she likes to share her talent with all of us and those around her. During that first semester at Lamar, she had a class. We believe that was going to show that within that class, I believe it was graphic design, perhaps. I believe that was the class the evidence will show. She happened to meet the defendant, Kent Doan. She met him in class and they were acquaintances. They were classmates, they were colleagues. They were both artists in the art department. That was the fall of 2023. She returned to her second semester at Lamar, living in Gentry Hall, for the spring semester of 2024. During January of that year, it was a Sunday. January 27th of 2024. Or you see, the night before, she had had conversations with her classmate, her friend, her colleague, a classmate whom she had known. They had communicated that night, and they wound up making plans to spend time the next day. We believe that the evidence will show that around noon or so that day, the defendant drove over, picked her up at a prearranged place near the dorm, and they went touring beautiful Beaumont. We believe that the evidence going to show they drove around town, went by the West End, and ultimately returned to Gentry Hall about 1 o'clock that afternoon. Gentry Hall, once again, is where Cecilia lived. During that afternoon, we believe they played video games, and after playing video games, they hugged, they kissed, they cuddled, but it went beyond that. It went beyond to where the defendant fondled her bare breast underneath her bra with his hands, placed his hands on her vagina. We believe the evidence will show that pants were removed, and during this time period, Cecilia, for lack of a better term, we believe the evidence will show that she was not only frozen by fear, but she knew this person to be a colleague within the art department. She was filled with a cacophony of different feelings, conflicted feelings. She froze, she didn't know what to do. And while she did not know what to do, as she was in her dorm room, in her bed, with his hands on her breast, on her vagina, on her buttock, on her body, during those moments, she could not process that. The evidence will show that they signed into the dorm room about 1 o'clock that afternoon, and about 91 minutes later, dawn, it dawned. The defendant, he was gone. We believe that the evidence will also show that after Cecilia had experienced this interaction, had experienced this assault, had experienced this indecent assault, she reached out. And the very next day, but she reached out that night, later that afternoon, that evening, on the same day, and then the next day, she went down to Lamar University of Houston. We believe that the evidence is going to show she did not go to the Lamar University Police Department because she was vindictive. She did not go down to the Lamar University Police Department because she was retaliatory in nature for what had transpired. She went down to the Lamar University Police Department because the evidence will show that she was violated, that she did not consent to those touchings of her private parts. We also believe that the evidence will show that her account of the events were also cooperated by statements which were given to the Lamar University Police Department by whom? None other than the defendant. Now, we believe the evidence is going to show that the very testimony which will come from the stand, your jobs as a judge will further instruct you all. Your job is just to judge the credibility of the witnesses. Look how they testify. Think about again if there's going to be like biases. But I submit before you all that once we look at the statement of the defendant, we compare that statement to that of Cecilia. You're gonna see how things overlap. You know when they overlap and when they say the same thing, that's cooperation, right? That's acknowledging and that's seeing the similarities of this, of what had happened. Where do they differ? Well, we believe the evidence is going to show through the viewing of the defendant's statement, it may be like minimalization and the like, but you're gonna see the constant overlap. And when we look to that, we compare that with the testimony of the victim of Cecilia. All that we ask is that you all listen to the testimony, bring your common life experiences as you all share. And when you guys eventually go back there, you just carry that with you. And that same common experiences that you all have, view the testimony of everyone who takes a stand and testifies. The spring semester of 2024, Cecilia Hope was cut short by the actions of one person, and that was the defendant. No one should have the right or ability to cut someone else's hope of becoming a part of his job.
Attorney Zuniga?
Yes, Your Honor. Please, the court, state of Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury. Good afternoon. Thank you for your patience with us. I'm glad we're finally getting this started. Pretty compelling stuff. You hear that from Mr. Williams. Interesting thing is that one thing we forgot to talk about yesterday in Bordire was the fact that he sits in that chair right there. It is innocent. The state's burden is to prove that he is guilty, not the other way around. And I know you guys understand that. But we stand up here at this stage of the trial, we tell you about what the evidence will show. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the evidence may not show, because as all of you well know, we all have a right to the Fifth Amendment. And I don't know if Mr. Doan's going to testify before you or not. We get to that stage and we feel that the state hasn't met their burden. He may not testify, but you're going to hear from him. You're going to hear from him because he didn't hide from this. He went down, he spoke with the investigators, and he gave a statement, and you're going to get to hear his statement. So regardless of whether he takes the stand or not, you're going to get to hear his version of what happened. But I want you to concentrate right now on what was really going on. College is awkward. Two kids, 118, 121, in a dorm room. And the evidence is going to show that they were supposed to go do something the night before, but they decided against it because Cecilia said, it's late, we'll do something tomorrow. So then the next day they get together and they do ride around, they're playing around a little bit, and they're like, hey, what do you want to do? And so the idea comes up to, well, let's go back to your dorm room. Her dorm room. where he has to sign in. So there's no hiding the fact that he was there in the dorm room. He's not trying to be a predator. This is not a rape case. This is not a sexual assault case. These are two college kids that go up to a dorm room and engage in what turns out to be something like an awkward moment. They're young. All of you were young. I assume all of you have had sex or intercourse with your spouse or girlfriend or significant other. And so you know what it's like. They weren't dating. They had never been together before. This is just kind of an awkward situation where they're both together, but I want you to concentrate on Cecilia's testimony. Because the evidence is going to show that she invites him, or they agree to go to the dorm room. Okay? She signs him in to go to the dorm room. She's aware that her roommate is not in the dorm room. She doesn't say, I feel awkward because my roommate's not there. Maybe we shouldn't go up. So they go up to the dorm room and they're playing games. I think they're playing Nintendo or something on a console, and the battery dies on the console. And so her testimony should be, the evidence should show, if she's consistent with what she's told others before us, that the suggestion is made that they should cuddle. Her words. Okay? What should we do? And my client says, well, do you want to cuddle? She says, sure. So they go cuddle. Where do they cuddle? Well, they don't go sit on the couch and hold hands and hug. They go to the bed to cuddle. Now, if her if her testimony is consistent with what she said before, the evidence is going to show that she says, then it escalated. But she doesn't say anything about whether or not there was any kissing or touching or pawing at each other, those awkward things that happen between teenagers and young adults, you know, while they're exploring themselves or trying to figure out whether or not they like each other, or let's face it, trying to decide whether or not they want to have sex. She doesn't mention anything about that. She just says, well, it escalated. And how does it escalate? So if her testimony is consistent, she's going to say, well, he put me on top of him. In her dorm room, she's on top. He's not pinning her down. He's not holding her hands, holding her wrists. She is on top. There's not going to be any testimony, if it's consistent with what she said before to investigators, that she says at that point in time, time out, stop, don't want to do this. No. They continue to touch each other. They continue to hug. They continue to kiss. And then what happens? Well, you're going to hear an investigator, when the police officers say that she claims that she was shocked or paralyzed by the situation because she didn't exactly know what was going on. However, I'll say it again, we're talking about her testimony. If her statements are consistent with what she said before, in her written statement, she never says anything about being shocked. She says that he then moves to be on top of her. Does she say no? Does she say stop? Well, she didn't say anything about that in prior statements. And if she testifies consistently, hopefully she'll get up here and tell the truth and stick with that and tell you the truth that she never told him to stop. At that point in time, she says the evidence will show that he was kissing her neck and that he did grope her chest. Okay? Pulls up her shirt. Now, this is where it gets very interesting, because her prior testimony, her prior statements, and the evidence should show, should she be consistent, that my client suggests that she take off her pants. She doesn't say no. She takes off her pants. And her prior statement says that she did it out of fear of retaliation. Retaliation of what? I don't know. Because there's never been any prior statement from her or anything in her statements that said that she was afraid of him, that he was forceful, that he demanded anything from her, that he was holding her down. None of that. Just she says, I did it out of fear of retaliation. But it gets better. Her prior statements also say, and the evidence should show if she's consistent, that then he suggests that she pulls her panties down. And what does she do? She pulls her panties down. And the touching continues. And then at some point in time, after he is touching her and she's touching back, she says, stop. And what does the defendant do? What does Kit do? You're right. He stops. She gets up out of the bed. Her prior statement says that she then walked over to the restroom, put her panties on, and put on some sweatpants. Does she tell him, we're done? Does she say, please leave? This is over. Not comfortable. No. What does she do? If she testifies consistently, she goes right back and lays down with him in the bed. So then, after she lays down back with him in the bed, they start to kiss again. And if her testimony is consistent, the evidence will show that, yeah, they start kissing again, and he starts touching again, and then he takes her hand. This is her statement, takes my hand and puts it on his penis. And I told him no. And so what does he do? He stops. And she says, I think you should leave. And so what does he do? He leaves. Every time that she told him to stop or time out or I'm not comfortable, he stops. He doesn't press the issue. He doesn't try to guilt her into doing anything else. He doesn't force her to do anything. He stops. Now, one thing that the state talked about in voir dire regarding consent. Everybody on this jury agreed that there is a point where consent starts, but then there's a point where it can end or stop. But in this case, we have consent starting, and then we have consent stopping, and then we have consent starting, and then we have consent stopping, and then we have consent starting, and then we have consent stopping. Now, every time she verbalized it, he stopped. But how is a young man supposed to know what is in the mind of a young woman unless she verbalizes it? Because he respected her every time she said to stop. Now, as far as if her testimony is that she was shocked or something to that effect, she never, in her conversations or in her prior written statements or prior statements to law enforcement, said anything about conveying that to the defendant and telling him, hey, I don't feel right. This is awkward. Stop. The 3 times she told him to stop, he did. When she told him to leave, he did. Her dorm, he's invited up. He's signed in. And so what does he do after the word? Yeah, he sends a message, says, hey, sorry this was awkward. Sorry if it got awkward. As young kids will do, young men and women. Hey, can we keep this between us? Because we've got a group of friends and yeah, it got kind of weird. Sure. The evidence is going to show that he absolutely did that. But the question here is consent. She consented to cuddling, her words. She consented to kissing. She never told him to stop when he was touching or when she was touching him. Now, she'll say that maybe, in her mind, she was thinking, wow, I don't know if I should be doing this. Or maybe she was exploring that in her mind. But until it's verbalized to the defendant, how is he supposed to know? An 18-year-old and a 21-year-old, the evidence is going to show that this is purely an awkward moment between 2 college students, that there was not any intent to violate her consent, that he didn't do anything that was unwelcomed or that he was told not to do. And after hearing all of the evidence in this case, I don't know how you're going to be able to come up with any other verdict than not guilty. I invite you to please listen to the evidence. Keep your minds open and, We look forward to presenting this to you. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams, may call your first witness.
Thank you. One moment, John, please. Thank you, Your Honor. The state will call, Dr. Sergeant Yatara Martin, Judge.
Okay. Sergeant Martin. Sergeant Martin, would you please come forward? Sergeant Martin, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? That you may put your hand down. You can take the witness stand and you adjust the chair and the mic.
Good afternoon. How you doing today? Good. Please keep your voice up and bring the mic to you. Is it? That's good. Can you please introduce yourself to the court and to the jury?
My name is Yatara Martin. I am a police officer with Lamar University.
And in order to become a police officer in the great state of Texas, what training and background have you had?
I completed about 5 month police academy, and where I was instructed over penal code, criminal code procedures, constitutional law, police interrogation, interviewing, several other courses
Where did you take your courses?
at Lamar Institute of Technology Regional Police Academy
And how long have you been a police officer?
for 13 years.
And what is your current position over at Lamar?
I am a sergeant over professional standards, ethical standards.
And are you a certified police officer in the state of Texas?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and still by way of background and education, tell the members of the jury the extent of your education.
I have a master's in criminal justice and a doctorate in educational leadership.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
Well,
Do you still currently live here in Beaumont?
yes, I do.
Could you tell the members of the jury why you have a doctorate? Why did you become a police officer?
I was a police officer before I obtained my doctorate degree. I was always interested in policing. I don't have police officers in my family. It was just something that was in me that I wanted to do.
What was it in you that made you something that you wanted to do?
I curious. My curiosity, I just always wanted to see justice and make sure everyone is treated fairly, and was just, I was interested in law and legal procedures.
I'd like to turn your attention to January, about 2 years ago, 21st and 22nd. Were you employed with Lamar University Police Department?
Yes, I was.
And what capacity were you employed? And
I was a sergeant.
did you? So, excuse me. In the course of your employment back on January 21st, January 22nd, 2 years ago, did you have occasion to come into contact with a Cecilia Hope Short?
Yes, I did.
Where did you come in contact with her?
She entered the Lamar Police Department and requested a report on an incident that occurred.
Based upon her entering, did you generate a report?
Yes, I did.
Um, Additionally, as part of that report, did you open an investigation?
Yes, I did.
And including part of that investigation, did you tender what is entitled a Title IX report to her?
Yes, I did.
I'll show you what has been previously marked as State's Exhibit 3. You recognize it?
Yes,
And what is State's Exhibit 3?
that is the Title IX form.
And you conveyed this to her
Yes, yes, I did.
on what date?
The 22nd.
State introduces, cease to admit State's Exhibit number 3.
Yes, sir, it's been previously declared.
Okay.
We have no objection to it.
Okay, State's exhibit number 3 is admitted.
You met Cecile Shorthook. Did you have occasion to meet Kit Dunn?
Yes, I did.
And where did you meet him?
He came into the police department.
And did you have occasion to speak with him?
Yes, I did.
Prior to speaking, where did you speak with him? You say at the police department. Could you describe the room for the members of the jury?
It was, interview room, small interview room with just me and him.
And the statement when you spoke with him, was it recorded?
Yes,
And did it fairly and accurately capture the conversation that you had with Mr. Young?
yes, it did.
With that, Judge, the state will enter into evidence, the state's exhibit number 7.
Any objections?
Objection, previously stipulated.
Okay. State's exhibit number 7 is admitted.
Did you speak to Mr. Dunn before or after you spoke with Miss Cecilia?
It was after.
1 day or 2 days later?
Probably 2 days after.
As part of your investigation,
Yeah.
correct? Over to the jury, Judge.
Yes, you may. Is that? You gonna turn that?
Once again, the court's indulgence, apologize to the court. Respectfully, Judge, now I'm able to approach
Okay,
the process of jurors, Judge. Would it be okay if the court cannot? I was going to bring the computer respectfully and set here where they can see the judge. We're having technical problems to where they
That's fine.
cannot with the audio within the court.
Your Honor, one of the jurists is, do you have a TV remote for that?
do they have a remote?
Right.
It's the.
Television with sound.
They got something in it. That was just the speeches to those. You can think it is, I'm just trying to.
See what I've seen, just taking. With the stand on each side. If it's okay with court, then it's up to. But once again, apologies to the court, Judge. With the court's permission, since this will run about 30, it will run about 30 minutes. Can we have allow the jurors, since it will that.
I'll get something after right there.
Yeah. Okay. I have the speakers fixed that way. So the sound will go.
Yeah, I have one going here and one going right here.
But they can hear from there, even if they just face it that way a second.
Thank you.
And then, can you just state your name and start it, please?
But it is kids, no, K-I-E-C-E, O, is it?
What's your date first?
23rd, 2000.
Before I get started, I'm gonna be just taking. Are you aware of like your, statutory warning, the warning of, you know, you have your right, about questioning, so you have the right to remain silent and not make any statement at all. Any statement you make may be used against you at this time. Any statement you make may be used as evidence against you in court. You have the right to have the lawyer present to advise you prior to and during the question. If you are willing to withdraw a lawyer, you have the right to have a lawyer appointed to advise you prior to and during the question. And you have the right to terminate the interview at any time. You want to continue speaking to me? It's regarding an incident that was filed against you by a female student.
Yeah, but yes, I would like to continue. I feel like there's some misunderstanding.
Yeah, I would like for you to kind of figure out what exactly happened.
I think I have enough things, sir. So, see, yes, I don't know.
So first, can you tell me how do you know her?
So we take, let's see, last semester, that's what I had better than art science, drawing, I believe, drawing, both design, both design. And I had signed the table for Harry got talked, information on social media. We were usually classmates, there's some
On Instagram?
and we had talked, and there's recently, like, we started talking, and, you know,
Like before, was it anything intimate or dating or?
but I did like feel like she had that, she was pushing it, you know, like, but I didn't really like think much of it or her.
This semester?
Okay, this semester, they don't take any classes, but I did hang out with her at one time. And I feel like that's what, so now,
So what happened?
so. I know it happened this month, and when we were talking on Instagram, this was before I heard meeting her. You know, when I was talking to her, I think we just, before I even addressed, I always talked about, I had talked to her because I had to check up, because I was like, are you still in art class? As she did some graphic design. And I was trying to major as well, because I thought like maybe we could work together on projects or something like that. That's what. And then she was cool, but I think like sounded good, and like, I didn't really think much of it because there was pretty much more to talk about it. And then, but recently we did talk, and like in that conversation there was, she did mention like the conversation got deeper with her, and I guess it got a little more things, and then she was talking about like her, like you know what was her like design or something like that. She kind of like opened up to me. I was like, okay, well, you know, but I just took that as like, oh, maybe she's like more comfortable with, you know, this almost like this, like, you know, for that friendship there, so maybe could be kind of something, you know, and whenever we were talking, we had, you know, to like, hey, you know, and she didn't seem like that, maybe, I don't think she felt comfortable with it. I thought it was so cool. And, I had picked her up that day. We were just talking, but I was driving around because there's really nothing like steal bubble or something. I heard that she was out of town and she had came down and I was like, you know, I can't really show you around bubble because there's nothing much to do. The west end is like the same side, the north end is more at the Apache side, the south side is like just people trying to get you to so I said this to west end a little bit, just like let's see if she because she so for the scene whenever she does come to school here. So I thought it was an opportunity to show her to know for. And if everything was like going good, and then I had like, I think I asked to go to her place, because I was like, it's okay if you were there, so you can be lucky. Or they go home, or I could like, you know, or at your place. And she had the choice, like I gave her the option to down, if she wanted to, come. And she continued to proceed to find over some kids, we were talking, but we played a switch, and then, we ended up, because she was moving back. And I was like, okay, you know, like me, I previously just, hello, but I was like, this is entire way. I got dope, and I was, and most of the past relationships I've been in were pretty like less oriented, so I kind of put it away from that. And she portrayed to be like she was like this lovely girl, she wanted to follow the traditional way, and that was something I really transitioned towards, because I realized that a lot of these relations I did it or less space, so like I would be forward to like the love aspect thing. And maybe this was like the door, you know, and she had at the end there, I was like, okay. So we were cuddling, we had like a photo where it felt like intimacy, or it felt like tension. It was like a lot of tension, and I knew I did addition, but when I auditioned, it wasn't really anything bizarre, like it was just a kiss. And I felt like she didn't push me away, she didn't back up, she didn't say no, like she continued. And then we started like kissing her. I even asked her, like, are you okay with this? Like, you sure you would continue, because if you're uncomfortable, I can stop writing down. Like I had made it, I had like made it like at least several times, so like I kept asking, because I do understand like consent is a must, and I'm not the type of person to like force you or make you feel obligated to do something you're not comfortable. Then I asked you, I'm supposed to, because I understand like something this can turn into this, and that's why I was afraid of. And that's why I asked you, always come to you will continue, and every side of responsible, yes, it's fine, do what you want, you know, but I didn't do what I want, because I made my wanted to be safe about it. I didn't do it the right way, and, we ended up like, just like kind of touching each other, getting more, getting more like hands on, and then, we were doing so, but it was no penetration at all, because I clearly asked, because I didn't break over a condom, and if I did, my intention was to, you know, do something, but I didn't break over that, and I didn't even want to make it about that, it was just like the key of open kind of like, if it was under the, and then I asked her, and she said no, and I said, okay, so come, it's so beautiful for sex, so penetration, because I would to do it the same way, you know, and do it the right way, you heard that continue to do so. And throughout that whole time, she never once had said no or showed any resistance or just like made it to where like she was uncomfortable. And that was kind of like confused on what I had to overcome about this. Cause I was like, you kind of made it to where like, you know, this is like she was lonely, you know, I was like, oh, you sound like you're being punched by this. They were actually never happy. And then like afterwards, and then I stopped because I was like, I feel like it got like, for me, they got awkward because I started to like realize like maybe like this wasn't this. Maybe that's like, you know, me feeding it to the signals, and no, and I think it's choice. And I sort of like, oh, it's just because I feel like I don't want to continue. And she said, okay, that's fine. I did apologize if you felt some way, and she clearly said it to me that she did not feel some way, and she even said that she didn't want to speak on. And I said, okay, like, let's just watch you just speak to the rest of it. It's just, you know, it was just something that happened in both of them. And
What she said, keep it between them.
I said that, but she agreed to so that was something. But I thought we were gonna be like this moment share. It was just, you know, like a lot of people, so I didn't think it's extent that we. So obviously,
But the touching was it under the clothes or her butt clothes?
It was, at first they saw that I was like, it moves, and then they don't, I didn't get it. It's like, okay. Like, I just know, I didn't look at the teacher, I mean, if I go to like, it's just, and she suggested that I go finish in the restroom, and I said, that's the one here, this, like, to their door, and just touching that, so that's really, weird, but that's what I done a little bit, and I said, okay, let me just stop, and just, you know, just,
So did she pull her clothes down,
yes.
like her shirt off and his pants, he completely naked?
She didn't take off her top. She willingly took off her pants. And I asked, like, you gonna take this off? You don't have to, you don't want to. But it did. And I was like, okay, but she was giving me a lot of like safer hopes that are food that I was doing. So I thought it was like everybody that was kind of like, okay. So I didn't understand it. And she had felt like really enough. If she did, I even said, and tell me how you feel. Because I really don't want to make this keep it away from here.
So did she take her bottom, like her clothes off?
It's where she took her pants off, she took the panties off, and she laid it.
Laid in the bed?
It's where she took her pants off, and then she kind of pulled it, she didn't take her pants off, she took it down, and but she didn't do it.
So what was the person started pulling it down for together? That's it, or?
Yes, and I even asked her, like, it's okay with me. And I asked, and while I was finishing her, I even asked, did you go continue, did you want to go? She said, yes, that's fine. She began to follow self-initial size and pleasure. And I thought that was okay. And, you know,
So you were actually like masturbating her? Did it go that far? Or were you just touching her?
I know it was like, yes, I guess you could say I was speaking.
Or did she touch you?
Yes, but she touched me back.
Like on your genitals and all that? So you pulled your own clothes down?
We both, yes, right, we both put our hair on, we stood our home. In her drawers on, but we were touching down the drawers.
And she was willingly like touch you?
Yes, ma'am. And she was like, that's what she was touching me, and then I had told her, like, Jackie, when you like your bed, I think when I was coming.
So she was using her hand to masturbate
She was, we were masturbating each other.
Well, her story is a little different. And, when you apologize, was it face to face or did you later?
Yes, I apologized in person and after the text. I told her, like, I said, I apologize. I feel like that those full like behavior isn't like good for the friendship, but we're gonna just be friends, you know. And I told her, yeah, I'm scared. Because I was like, oh no, so I was like, we just get on together. You know, like you just go for your own thing.
So why did you want her to just keep this food?
Because I feel like, so whenever I did meet her, there was other people, friends I made, and she was like talking to them, and I felt like she probably told other people, like, this way I think so, and so, like me, and then I care about like the privacy of the see that I do, so I would expose and enrich other people, and I would let her do that also, just to like keep her image safe.
So were you really interested in her as far as going further into the dating relationship? You just still,
I was there, like, I was pondering on it, like, I thought, like, that moment we had was like, okay, like, this is another, deep turning over for me, like, I'm gonna meet somebody, and like, actually, I'm probably on the traditional way. I was gonna talk to the next day, but I just thought myself over, like, in school, so I was there, like, come at her, hey, girl, so like we started off all video like doing the right thing. I did like feel bad because wasn't maybe like this wasn't the right thing because I'm just repeating what my other past relationships had. You know, that's kind of what I was used to, and it was just my experience with it. And if she felt like it was bad, she could have told me otherwise. Like she had a lot of chances. No, no, she never moved me on social media. I would have here. I was like, I'm the UK, but I wanted to check over you. How do you feel about that? Like, if you feel like I've been wrong, you could say so, like, I was there, throw that proposition at her, but she ever moved me, so I was like, maybe she hates me, or I can understand.
So why do you feel she came here and said you touched her on the without her thinking?
I'm not even sure, like, that's why I'm so confused, because I really thought I had made it clearly, because I even expressed in those simple terms. Yeah, I thought so I'm kind of confused, well, like, I really don't know what she said at the beginning. I want to ask her, but she told me, so. You know, and that's like me being or something, you know, did, I knew a bit that I should, but it was nothing crazy, it was kids. And I felt like you could have turned away, you could have smacked me in the face, you know, you could have done anything to show signs that you did not want any type of interaction like that. And I would have backed up, like, you know, because, to be honest, like, this is like, the hardest for them. I had a case where, she got sexually assaulted, so I had to go with it down where the people can't see it. I'm just confused as well. That's why when you had called me here, I was like, okay, this sounds urgent, so
So did she tell you to leave the room?
I don't know, or,
Again,
no, she did, because, at the end, I suggested I shouldn't, like, she never came to me out, but there was so people.
where was she, where you, with the back?
We did,
The different in the bed, is that
yeah, because I was like, this, I was feeling like, it's,
if it wasn't being segregated, or she wasn't?
well, like, she did reciprocate, but it was the point that we kind of awkward, so I was like, oh, this is like awkward, you know, so it's like, the people, some. That you can do, and there's, you're not telling me anything, you're not asking me questions, you're telling me yes, yes, yes. But I was like, okay, this started to look like awkward, it was like, okay, we just. Yeah. Fishing.
So what did she say when you got her to that?
She said, you know, something. And I was like, oh,
When she changed clothes, she pulled her clothes or something?
yeah, she put her clothes on. She put everything back on, everything back on there. She walked out. She said, all right, fine. And then, this lady, the whole video, right? But you're in trouble. So, she showed me she's good. And I didn't really like feel some way.
Somehow with the conversation while you were walking, you got a problem.
No, we didn't really talk. It was more like, I kind of said, I think I should. And then kind of agree that let's just stop this though.
I don't mean like, as you're out the door now, so as you're walking down the hall to the sign about,
Oh, no, we didn't talk.
what they not door, how,
No,
they can't say anything, or nothing. I mean, where you kind of talking side by side, or it's like, maybe you can ignore you, or how is that?
yeah, we walked sign or something. Throughout the whole way, and we did talk. It wasn't really much, but it was more like a sign of them side by side. And she said, I got my ID back. She was there behind. That's what.
So did she ever tell you, like, stop touching me, or either no, I don't want to touch you? Or anything like that?
She didn't say double stop touching me. She never like said it. Like,
Or did she kind of move your hand away every time?
she never like, what's like this one?
Or did you put her hand on you, or like on your genitals, or she just literally just started touching you?
It was more like we were holding hands and like,
I mean, it was more like, feeling, and I'm getting more of what her to feel, how you were feeling in that moment.
I was like, I did get warm or anything. I did ask her if she would like reciprocating, she opened that, so she never said no, so. I guess I kind of like, we were holding hands, like, how are this, and like, kind of guided her hand out of it, just to see if she would pull away.
Yeah.
But she never pulled away, so I was like, okay. And then, I think there was a point where I didn't like, she wanted me to go further, so I was doing like, straight each other. And I got to the point where like, I was giving a phone call for a chest burning, and I asked like, is she going to get oral? And she said no, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, sure. You don't have to do that.
So did you perform oral on her?
Yes, ma'am. I did, and she didn't say anything. She was going to, as she always signs pleasure. But she never gave me,
Not just masturbating, you actually was performing oral sex on her?
not her, yeah, maybe just other, yes, ma'am. And she never gave me oral, because I did ask, but she said that, okay, that's fine. You know, like, you know, so crazy. So it was just really just kissing and oral here and like discussion. But there was
How long were you, how long did she allow you to touch her?
I said like 10 minutes. So I had the whole day.
While she was like laying in the bed?
Just a big lasted about 25 minutes on yes. So she had something. So it has. I don't know. She never told me no, but I was like, okay, maybe this is something. Maybe there's something. Okay. So, yeah, so after that, so
When you had it up for,
and I wanted to talk to him, so yeah,
you guys been outside together?
very student. So this is not existent. And I don't put it I was there. Yeah. Like it's
Well, at this point, she requested no contact,
okay.
so that you get contact.
Yes.
And she is also filing, criminal action. It's in the name, you touched her without. Which is, for this case, called, incident assault, and it's a class A misdemeanor.
Okay.
So that's what she wanted to,
So she's got some charges in here. So how will I go about this?
I can, get your side of it.
Okay.
I'll put everything together and then the district attorney will determine if it did happen and it's enough to try to prosecute you, or does nothing happen, so so you have an investment on anything that you can add to the case.
I did not, I mean, I could have deleted.
And like during our conversations prior to joining her, you have, like you said, she was trying to talk about her desires, you have anything like that?
I have a phone, I mean, I have the Instagram money call, but the messages I didn't delete because when she blocked me, I was like, okay, you know, it's just,
Is there any way you can get her back from Instagram?
I don't think so, because she did like, she sent me a screenshot of what like she was trying to show me like her desires and stuff. Like she was telling me like she was her fantasy built like these and my character and stuff like that. So, she was big open. Okay, but no, I didn't. So I don't know.
But you don't think Instagram would ever have any kind of way you can retrieve your message?
That would be kind of hard because I would get contact with because or did I can because each account used to be messages. Just I'm not sure if she has any messages, but
If she tried, I see if there's a way to retrieve some of that message. You know, this to show that y'all did have that discussion together and maybe show that something was turning to form the relationship or anything.
yeah.
take like the recorded audio, what was that show?
It was like a phone call type thing, so,
What was it?
we were just talking about how I heard sirens, well, we're on the phone call, and then she had shown me what I speak about, what she was trying to show me.
That was like right before you consider, or that's not right.
That was the night before, yeah, the night before, so,
If you have that,
because I didn't, she said, and all that is like, in the,
the recording, that's all it's going to be.
yes, sir, she might catch it, but if she deleted it, then that's, but, if she's full of her, that's just like, she made a show without her. But if she said, but,
She said she probably has a message that she was apologizing. Would that say anything like, I apologize, but that she knew without the intent, or what would that say? That last message that,
the last message, I believe I said, I apologize for any lustful behavior. I feel like that could come between that friendship. Yeah, you feel like, you know, at times when you got something like it's okay, like, you know, I didn't want to. I'm just confused with what she said. There was no consent because I can remember at least 5 or sometimes available where I. So, like,
did she have one money, was anybody else involved?
she said that they had like.
Really, I will put everything that I have together, and if she brings me the messages that she has, then all that will go to the state. Then I'll, she wants it to be filed with the attorney office or from that before. That's all.
There's a. Okay. But you don't need it before that periods. Or.
It's your, you're,
Yes.
I can't form some.
Okay,
Kids to you.
so I can still say something.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine, because. If I feel like that's just. I feel like she's hiring about, she's told you, but. I can't, but you know.
That's why it's good to give their side.
There's so many, like. That's why I told her to ask her, she's okay, every time she does everyone said no. So like, well, you can continue to feel like. Right, it's like if my character to like take advantage. It's just like. I did initiate his only because I felt like she had gave me the good, I agree with to do so. And like, yeah, she could act place.
So she was really cool.
Yes, sir. She was in all she did everything that so she really said so that's already so vague, I'm just confused. I feel like it's not right because you're just accountable to me. Yeah, like this is a serious topic, but I would have this one. And if I did do wrong, I'm confident in I made this one. Just make her job harder, make her job better. But just so it gets honest as possible, right? And you have money down because I didn't even expect it to get this here because I didn't silly. But that's not me, so I can't.
Well, since take the viewer student conduct, student affairs will contact me. Because she wanted to know contact, and there was stuff about that, she, that's the student side, I'm giving them. From the side, for the one involved.
So. I didn't finish everywhere, I didn't care.
As of right now, I'm just gathering there, I go to the store, I'll put it all together. Present it to the district attorney, cover all that, yeah, she presents something to me, you have anything that you have to. Their things, and I'll put it all together. Send it to the district attorney office at the courthouse, they will review everything that's provided in the case.
Yeah.
And then it really would be up to them to decide if this happened or it didn't happen.
Okay.
So if they decide, yes, we feel he did something without her consent, then they will set a court date, they'll probably reach out to you, so if you have that phone number is good,
Yes,
the address, same address as we do,
yes,
so you're good, and they'll, reach out to you and, make you aware of the date thing.
okay, so like, so they have the final say for this case.
Yes.
And they have, and they're saying that you would continue to, that they understand that if they think that, they can be something.
Yes, and if they can't find enough, evidence or anything to show an offense did occur, then they will. They refuse it, or either they'll dismiss it. I don't know if it gets to that point, we can go to trial.
Yeah.
If they decide to pick it up, you can go to trial.
Okay. That's a,
Okay.
yeah, all right.
That's all I have.
No, really, I just have to like, I don't really have one. Yeah, just have to like, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
But I think I'll come in that everything else, but if you look at it, because you, and obviously it was case. I was also.
Yeah, and it might not be,
Yeah,
might be, yeah.
yeah. But,
If you're honest, then.
That's my heart.
Wrong.
it's sort of like, I can take everything that happened, and I did it, okay. She can say what she wanted to say,
Yeah.
she can feel what she wanted to feel, but at the end of the day, like, I did everything I could to protect myself in that situation, because I knew, like, just like that 1%, if I get to this point, and I guess so, that 1%, I got unlucky.
At some point before that, do you feel like you should have walked out?
Yes, in a way, like, yeah, cause like, she gave me all these signals, but I was just like, really heartbroken, so I was like, with that company was like, you know, and they kind of it. Then I was like, afterwards, I was like, something like, she was, because it was, you got, it blew up, unfortunately, and, you know, it did. But like, I don't hate her, like, I have no animosity towards her, she can really feel her, she would feel like, that's really good, like, but I had no intentions to do her wrong at home, ever, like,
Do you feel like if she wouldn't have came here and wanted to file charge, yeah, I still would have. Even after the way that y'all left that night, you feel like if there would have been something there?
possibly, like, maybe, like, oh, they'll be friends, or like, just want to like, if we take feelings to each other as we become friends, you know, as that's know each other for, and it could be like a relationship, you know. They love you, so, yeah.
So why did, cause she made a comment about you wanting to take her to an arcade, why didn't y'all get that part?
Kind of just to have the money, and as a man, like, I don't want to tell people, you know, like, that's kind of good. I just, because most of my money is just put up somewhere, or I'm helping my parents, so like, I didn't want to be on control, but if, you know, like, again, if I'm the man, I'll take you up, but then I would want to pay for everything, I would want to make sure everything. It should be the most, I would want to get her to safe and have fun, but she did say arcade, there's really not much to do at the arcade, hold on, it's like, games that were the rest of like broken, you know, so it's like, I sort of like, well, is it really like that big city scene, how big it is, you know, that you, or something, so that other thing. Like, you would have to spend a lot of money, and then that money, you would probably feel like half of it there, because half the other things I'm learning, so it's like, I just kind of, getting for it. There's really no big plus of the, but if you will, and she just said, you know, she was serving that.
We can write.
We just but we just show everyone, this is like a good area for. You know,
And then, so you just decided to drop it all, but then return it back to your place.
before I concluded the drive, I did ask her, I was like, do you want me to drop you off, or did you want to pick up for at your place? I gave her an option. I gave her two options. And she picked get school, like, she said, I want to think that I would be a control. Like, just go over, you play the switch, and like, you can. Like that, I was totally cool, something that's on me.
I hope so different, like, what does she mean by color? Did she mean any bad color, or did she think that color was like, looking, touching, different? Any comment like that?
There, she kind of said. It was smooth enough.
Was y'all kids in the car?
Everything I did back there.
Everything is?
I feel like I said everything, that I feel like I said to you, I was really just in shock and awe, like. I came, it's, you know, you can just slowly go, and you're just like, let you go, you didn't have to indulge or. Like, there was so many points where I said, like, you're not obligated to hate what you have. You got the hate, yeah, all of that. I'm just so bored, and I didn't like, I really hurt, so I feel something or something, like, I'm just trying to get to know people now, because it's not a relationship, and that relationship was like toxic, and I got kind of like try, like, this is a better thing, you know, like, I just wanted to go social life, like, get where it's like, rebuild my social life. I guess. I started here, but they tried to. For example, maybe that's why I can try to like tell her, like, you know, really we got off for work, really get shit about it. Especially some things that are shit. If you do wear like you stuff that like, you know, something like that, and like, whatever, and it's on you, like, I know that Charlie is about being all like, the shit fix you. Clearly, made it clear several times, you know, but it's just, I'm just in shock, you know. It's, okay with it, because I know we're at it.
Right. I will end it.
You said,
You may be seated. Court is back in session, file number 24 CCCR 1096, case is style of state of Texas versus Kid Doan. Let the record reflect that Mr. Doan is present in court with his attorney, Attorney Zuniga. State is present with Attorney Williams and Attorney Nixon. State, are you ready?
State's ready.
And defense, are you ready?
That's ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Okay, let the record reflect that the jury is now present and seated in the courtroom. Mr. Williams, you may proceed.
Thank you. Next, Sergeant Martin, you had testified earlier and was admitted State's Exhibit number 3, which is a no contact order, correct?
Yes,
Which you conveyed to the defendant, correct?
yes.
Based upon Miss Cecilia Short's request.
Yes.
Could you read the portions and the date in which that was done?
You want me
The bottom portion, correct?
this part or just?
Yes, this point.
It says, as a complainant or a respondent, you may request a no contact order be issued for you and the other student. If you live in a residence hall, you can also request for a temporary room change. Additional emergency supportive measure requests should be sent to the Title IX coordinator or student conduct office. And she signed her name, Cecilia Hope Short, on January 22nd, 24. And she also put her date of birth, which is 9/2/2005, and her alien number and her email address.
When she signed State's Exhibit 3, the Title IX request for a no contact order, do you remember her demeanor?
Yes.
Could you share with the jury what her demeanor was when she signed this?
To me, it looked like she was kind of disappointed that a friend had done this to her, because she said it was a friend. And she just said she didn't want any contact with that person.
Objection here, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 4. Do you recognize that? Well, State's Exhibit number 4, do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And State's Exhibit number 4 is a log entry for Gentry Hall, correct?
Okay.
And contained on State's Exhibit 4. This is the very same log entry which was stated by the defendant that he signed into the dorm, correct?
Correct.
And he signed into the dorm at what date?
On January 21st, 2024.
And at what time?
It was 1:01.
13:01 hours, correct?
Correct.
And what time did he sign out?
At 2:32. 14:30.
So the entire time in which he was not only from upstairs within the dorm till the time that he left was 92 minutes or so.
Yep.
And during that 92-minute period on this Sunday is when the complaint which was made, by Ms. Short relates to, correct?
Correct.
Finally, that was January 21st, correct?
Correct.
She met with you on January 22nd when State's 3 was signed, correct?
Correct.
And you met with Mr. Dawn on January 24th, correct? And that's the video in which we saw. Thank you. Publish, permission to publish to the jury judge, that states exhibit number.
But it hadn't been admitted.
Actually, so we saw it to admit it, judge, and it was.
Yes, Your Honor, that was stipulated.
So you stipulate to it.
Then we have.
Okay, no objection, states exhibit number was admitted.
That's number 4, Judge, yes.
Okay.
It'll be 4 lines. Yeah, here's the The person who was on the video, who you met, back on January 24th, of 2004, do you see that person here in court today?
2024, yes.
Can you please point him out by identifying an article of his clothing?
Yes. Sure.
Where is he? Could you point him out?
Okay. Sitting right there.
May the record reflect the in-court identification of Kit Down.
The record will so reflect identification of the defendant, Mr. Kit Dome.
Now, Lamar University, Gentry Hall, is that in Beaumont, Texas?
Yes, it is.
And in Jefferson County, Texas?
Yes.
Thank you. State pass, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Zuniga.
Simple. Yeah. It's for temporary. Okay. Sergeant Martin, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Mr. Zuniga, you have to, go at a podium. If you need permission to, approach the witness, you can do that. I think your request was that you can move around. But
Oh, yes, Your Honor. I just moved so I could see her better. If the court wants me to use the podium, I can use the podium.
okay, but if you need to move around, you can do that.
Oh, thank you, Judge. I appreciate it. But does the court mind if I question her from here? Okay, thank you. So Sergeant Martin, how did you come to be, I guess, appointed to do this investigation?
I'm familiar with sexual misconduct cases. I've done a good amount with them throughout my career.
Okay. And when this comes to you, you would agree that these are merely allegations, correct? That's why you're conducting an investigation. You'd agree with that? May I approach what you showed me? Yes. I'm going to show you this previously introduced exhibit. And been introduced for all purposes, but what I want you to focus on is the second page. Right there. What does that say? Very top. We are what?
We are neutral.
Neutral, correct, because this is an investigation. And the Title IX request that was signed, which is what you have in your hand. That portion that you read aloud to the jury and that was published to the jury, that says as a complainant or respondent. You would agree? It does not say as a victim, correct? And why is that?
Because she's not seen as a victim at that time. She complained.
Exactly. So this document that the state has introduced, this is a document that you would agree, this is a document the university uses just in case while an investigation is going on, so that the two parties don't have communication. You would agree with that?
If she requests no contact.
Right. But it's so that the parties cannot have communication. You would agree with that?
Correct.
Okay. And part of that is so that potentially your investigation won't be tainted. You won't have someone trying to manipulate the other person to say anything. You would agree with that?
Not for this form.
Okay, so this form doesn't have anything to do with your investigation.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, thank you. That's exactly what I need. Now, at the time that Mr. Doan came to the police department, how was he contacted?
Initially, phone call.
Okay, and did you ask him to come into the police department immediately, or did you set a time for him to come in?
I never said immediately, so it had to have been whenever he's available.
Sure, and you would agree that part of that has to do with the fact that these are students and they have schedules and they have deadlines and they have classes.
Right.
And so you didn't yourself read anything in particular into him coming in 2 days later than the complaint, did you?
Right.
Okay. It wasn't, in your opinion, him trying to be evasive or anything like that, was it?
Right.
And you would agree also that at the time he came into the police station, he was not represented by counsel, was he?
No, he was not.
He came in absolutely 100% voluntarily. And even after sometime in the interview toward the end, when you said this young lady intends to file charges against you, he didn't lawyer up at that time, did he?
No.
And you would agree that he continued to speak with you? And that his demeanor really didn't change much, that he continued to give you his side of the story?
He gave me his side of the story.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you very briefly about something that you mentioned towards the end of well, let me ask you this. What you presented or what you testified to today, that was the entirety of your investigation file. You would agree with that? Okay.
I spoke to Cecilia.
Correct, and understood, but you agree that you have to sign something saying these are the findings of my investigation, and that's what you turn over to the district attorney's office.
Correct.
Okay. So other than this recorded statement, well, you would agree that the complainant in this case also spoke with you. And without telling anyone what she said, because she'll have her opportunity, did she write a statement?
Yes, she did.
And at whose direction did she write that statement?
Presented the form to her, is that what you're asking?
Well, you asked her to write a statement
Yes.
as part of your investigation. Okay, and so typically when you give a person a statement form, on that statement form, you obviously tell them to be accurate and detailed about what happened. Would you agree with that? And you didn't deviate from that in this investigation, did you?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, you conducted this investigation just as thoroughly as you would any other.
Sure.
Okay, and so you would agree, you told her, hey, please be specific, please put details in your statement, because this is part of my investigation. Maybe not in those words, but along those lines, you would agree.
I told her to just write her statement of what she relayed to me.
Okay. Now, you also prepared a report regarding the findings of your investigation, didn't you? And in that report, you would agree that you put in important pieces of information to guide the district attorney's office in their consideration of presenting charges. You would agree with that? You don't?
You say guided.
Well, you try to give a fair and accurate representation of everything you found in your investigation.
Correct, I presented everything.
Things that you believe will assist the district attorney in making their determination.
Just just to assist anyone in the court.
Okay, well, you would agree that a person's demeanor or how a person may have presented themselves at the time they were interviewed would be important to the district attorney's office. You would agree with that?
They had a body camera, so I didn't tell them anything about either one of their deleted.
Okay, so was there a body camera of Ms. Short signing the request for?
Yes,
Okay, so you're saying that that potentially would have been on body camera, because you would agree you didn't include anything about that in your report, did you?
I have to see my report about which part.
Well, you just testified to the jury, and the state was asking you that her demeanor was disappointment at the time she signed the this Title IX agreement. You agree with that?
Right.
And you didn't put any of that in your report, did you?
No, I didn't have.
Okay. Now, going back to that Title IX, you would also agree that this request for no contact, this does not validate an accusation by anyone, does it?
No, this.
And it does not determine the guilt of anyone, does it?
Right.
Yeah. So, why did you decide to wait until the end of the interview with Mr. Doan to, tell him that the complainant wished to file charges against him?
It wasn't, I just decided to wait. I just wanted his side, and then after he finished giving me his side, he asked how to proceed with that, and I told him that she was wanting to file further action.
So how many of these types of interviews have you conducted? You testified earlier, many.
Yes,
And so do you, if charges are intended to be filed, do you always wait until the end to tell them that charges are gonna be filed? Or did it just happen to
no,
come
it
up?
just happened.
Okay, fair enough. I understood. I know that every interview is not the same. That's fine. Now I kind of want to get to the crux of this interview here real quick. You work for Lamar University Police Department, correct? And you are a recognized police agency in the state of Texas, correct? And so in your investigation, you have subpoena power, don't you?
Right.
And if you wanted to subpoena records, you certainly could, couldn't you? Okay, so knowing that, you talked about some Instagram messages that potentially were sent between the parties. Do you remember that part of the investigation? Okay, and on this recorded statement, you asked Mr. Doan to request those statements from Instagram. Do you remember that part?
Is that?
Now, why didn't you, as the lead investigator in this, take the reins and request these messages from Instagram?
I just did not. He told me he deleted them. I just asked if he could request them.
Okay, and I think his response was he thought it might be difficult to get those. Do you remember that response? Something along those lines?
That response, but I do remember him saying that he deleted.
Okay, so you also asked him a question specifically that said something along the lines of, are you sure you didn't send her a message saying you were sorry for touching her without consent? That was your question. Do you remember asking him that question?
I asked him, was that in the apology?
Okay, you asked him if that was in the apology. Now, that was something that you guys were discussing that may have been conveyed in an Instagram message. You would agree with that?
What objective that being a compound question?
I'll rephrase the question now.
Okay,
You would agree that if we were to rewatch the video, at that point in time, you guys were talking about Instagram messages.
I don't remember if it was just about Instagram or it was just in general during his apology.
Okay, well, let me ask the question like this. If there was an Instagram message that my client allegedly sent to the complainant that said, sorry, I touched you without your consent, then you would agree, we probably wouldn't even be sitting here because we'd have an admission from the defendant that he touched her without consent. You would agree with that?
No, I do not.
Okay, if that message existed and you asked him, is there a message that says, sorry, I touched you without your consent? You would agree that would be vital to your investigation.
I'm gonna object to that being speculative, Judge.
Your Honor, she asked the question in the video. I'm only following up as to why it wasn't part of the investigation file.
And that's a mischaracterization of the testimony the jurors heard, Judge, and she did not say, if that were available, if you did indeed say this, we have to say, if then proposition, Judge, which calls for right speculation, Judge. If it existed.
I'll rephrase it again, Your Honor.
Okay.
There were Instagram messages that were vital to your investigation. You should have subpoenaed them, correct?
I could have.
Okay, and why didn't you?
I just did not. I asked if he could get them. He told me they were deleted. So I just did not get.
Okay, now you also had the opportunity to speak with Miss Cecilia Short, didn't you?
Correct.
And you talked to her without saying what you said, but you talked to her about Instagram messages as well, didn't you?
Correct.
And at any point in time, did you determine whether or not she had deleted Instagram messages?
I'm not sure. Remember if she said she did.
Well, did you ask her to view her Instagram messages?
I did.
And did she comply?
No, she did not. I wouldn't say that she didn't comply. I'm not sure if she had them. I just don't remember her response.
Okay, but you would agree that if the jury wants to review the defendant's video, that they'd be able to tell for themselves whether or not there's discussion about Instagram messages. Okay. And so you did not subpoena any Instagram messages from either the complainant or the defendant.
Right.
And this was even after you determined in your investigation that a large part of their communication goes through Instagram.
Objection, assuming facts not in evidence.
Objection sustained.
Okay, in your investigation, did you determine how they were communicating?
I had what he told me and then what she told me.
Okay, did any of those communications involve Instagram?
What he did tell me for communications on Instagram.
Did she ever tell you there were any communications on Instagram?
I do not remember if she did say Instagram.
Okay. And I was just asked and answered, but you didn't subpoena any Instagram messages. Do you recall in Mr. Dome's interview telling him that you had asked Cecilia to bring you the messages she had?
I do.
Okay. So you asked him, or I'm sorry, excuse me, you told him you had asked Cecilia to bring the messages that she has. Did you ever determine what those messages were?
No,
Never got them from her.
no.
So you didn't follow up with her on your investigation.
She never provided the messages.
Did you ever reach back out to her?
No, I did not.
That's what it
Okay, so, Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir. So this investigation contains the time frame of what began on Sunday, January 21st, correct? And your investigation, after speaking with Cecilia, concluded, when I say concluded, on January, pretty much January 24th, within that window,
Correct.
after speaking with the defendant.
Okay.
Now, Able Defense Counsel did indeed ask you about, did she provide a written statement, correct? She being Cecilia, correct? She did provide a written statement, correct?
Yes.
And did she also provide a video statement?
Yes, you did.
Was that taken near or around the time of the written statement?
Yes, it was.
Now, he also, talked about your police reports. Are these police reports a summary of your investigation? Is it a summary?
Yes,
Because we just watched 40 minutes of the defendant's statement, correct?
yes,
Yet it is condensed to a few lines
yes.
within your report,
Yes.
correct? Because it's a summary. So everything that's said during the course of your investigation is not contained in it, correct? Because there's summaries.
Yes.
Thank you, Pastor Winston.
Mr. Zuniga?
Yeah, just a moment, yeah.
Yes.
So let me back up here for a second. You just testified that your role as an investigator here is to get both sides of the story. Right? And that you're neutral in all this.
Right.
And that, you present the evidence of your investigation to the district attorney's office.
Right.
As a neutral person.
Correct.
Okay. And so, can you explain then, well, let me ask you this, you signed a probable cause affidavit, didn't you?
Yes.
And, do you recall in that probable cause affidavit, whether or not you made a recommendation to the district attorney's office?
Yes, I did.
And what was that recommendation?
You want me to read it?
No, I'm just asking you what the
I
recommendation
don't
was.
remember it verbatim.
Well, the recommendation was for them to file charges, wasn't it?
Read it.
Do you remember it? If you don't remember, I can bring it.
I said I didn't remember.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
In terms of refreshing your recollection of this, you don't have to read the whole thing, but this is your probable cause affidavit.
Yes.
Okay, and at the very bottom of the affidavit, the bolded part that's bolded on your document, would you not read out loud, but just read it to yourself to refresh your memory?
Yes, sir.
So, based on that, did you make a recommendation to the district attorney's office?
Yes,
Which was what?
to file the charges of indecent assault.
Doesn't sound neutral, does it? Doesn't sound like you're just presenting the facts as you got them for the DA to decide, does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, how so?
It was just based on all of the facts that I received and
And it's based on your incomplete investigation too, isn't it?
Objection to characterization, Judge.
Yes, should stay.
It's based, would you agree your investigation could have included more evidence,
I could have requested a clearance.
but you didn't?
You know,
That's what you did.
Mr. Williams?
The probable cause affidavit that you looked at, is a sworn document, correct? You investigated the case, correct?
correct.
And after your investigation, you concluded that a crime had been committed, correct?
Your Honor, that's not the probable causes. I object to that. That's a mischaracterization.
No, it's exactly, respectfully, Judge, the probable cause affidavit alleges a crime has been committed. And she swears that the elements had been met at the point of more likely than not that this crime has been committed. She completed the affidavit. Otherwise, Judge, we'll be talking about a Frank's hearing to where she doesn't believe what she put in the affidavit. An affidavit is a sworn document.
It is a sworn document, but as counsel's aware, Your Honor, probable cause is the medium or the vehicle to ask that the charges move forward, not necessarily that a crime has actually been committed. That's what these people are doing, Judge.
They would never file a case with a charge. Had that individual, that detective, that sergeant, that law enforcement officer believed that there had not been an offense against the state of Texas, Judge.
Your Honor, the district attorney's office accepts charges, not the officers. They contact the district attorney's office, who then decides whether or not to accept charges. The point of my question and the direction of my questioning was whether or not this was a neutral investigation and whether or not she came to a neutral conclusion, which the probable cause affidavit certainly shows that she did not.
Good, I'll sustain your objection. Yeah, you finished with your,
Sir. Nothing further.
You have any questions?
Nothing further.
May this witness be excused?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
Sergeant Martin, you're excused. Here you go, and you have a blessed day. Mr. Williams, would you like to call your next witness?
Yes, Judge, please.
Okay.
Miss Cecilia.
Hold on a minute.
Miss Cecilia Hope Short, Judge.
Miss Cecilia Hope Sharp. Mm. Ms. Short, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Ms. Short, you may put your hand down. You can take the witness stand and adjust the mic and the chair.
Good afternoon. Cecilia, could you please introduce yourself to the jury as well as the court?
Of course. My name is Cecilia Hope Shorn.
And where do you live, Cecilia?
In Baytown.
And who do you live in Baytown with?
My mother, my father, and my older brother.
And how long have you been living in Baytown?
It's about 2017.
And in 2023, did you attended high school?
Yes.
You graduated from high school around May or June? Which high school did you graduate from?
Rochester in high school.
And once you graduated, this is in 2023, correct? You lived in Baytown? Did you enroll in college?
Yes.
Let us speak with the members of the jury right now. Tell the members of the jury, who do you live with now?
My mother, my father, my older
How old is your older brother?
brother. 21.
Any point between 2017 and now, did you live anywhere else? When I say now, I mean January 2026. And where did you live?
In the Gentry Hall dorm rooms of Lamar University.
When was that?
In the fall of 2023.
So you entered as a freshman during your first semester.
Yes.
Well, are you working now? While you live in Baytown
Yes.
with your parents? And where do you work?
At the Chili's on Garth Road there.
You're no longer at Lamar University.
No.
And, how long have you been there? And there at Chili's Avant-Garde?
About 7 to 8 months now.
You went to Lamar University as an art student, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have any particular, medium that you prefer?
Painting.
From our conversations previously, just so members of the jury can get to know you again as a whole person, you're also a cellist, correct?
Yes.
What made you decide to enter art at Lamar?
I'd always had an interest in art, especially since I was younger until now. I've always been doing it. So,
And-
I want to continue.
Leading up to you enter into Lamar, we saw what was happening now with you. Let's talk about what happened then. Entering into Lamar, you majored in law. You lived in a dorm.
Yes.
It was once again, as you said, Gentry Hall.
Yeah.
Here in Jefferson County, Texas. Did you enjoy Lamar when you entered?
I did.
You enjoyed your first semester? Do you remember what classes you took your first semester?
The basics, English, math, and my art drawing one and design one courses.
And during that during the fall semester, after graduating that May, in your art class, did you have occasion to meet Kit Dom?
Yes.
Where did you meet him?
The design one course.
As a classmate, you had a class together?
Yes.
And this was during the fall of 2023, correct? Could you characterize for the members of the jury, what was the nature and quality of y'all interaction back in the fall of 2023?
Friendly, mostly. Talking occasionally, mostly just classwork, other things like that.
So you guys, would you categorize that as what classmates, associates? Y'all were friendly. You were friendly, right? Did that change?
Yeah.
You re-enrolled for the spring semester 2024, is that correct?
Yes.
Still enjoy Lamar?
Yes.
Still pursuing your art degree? Did anything happen in January of 2024?
Yes.
Is that the reason or part of the reason why you're not at Lamar now?
Yes.
Could you tell the members of the jury what transpired in the spring semester of 2024, January, that changed the course that you were previously on? Take your time, Cecilia.
Of course. I was calling a friend the previous night in which it took place. Until, well, I was
Who was your friend that you were calling?
Chili's
Okay.
call. We were calling and I got a call in the middle of us talking. Kit had called me. And we had talked the previous night, friendly conversation, in which she suggested that we go out that night. I refused, as it was late. I didn't want to go out that late, as it was around 6:45, which it happened. And he suggested that we go out the next day, the Sunday after that, at around 12:30, to which I had agreed.
Was that conversation casual
Yes.
from the day before, that Saturday? Well, although the conversation was casual, was it of a sexual nature?
No.
Please continue, Cecilia.
course. During the next day, I had done my stuff and at around our agreed meeting time, 12:30, which I agreed. He had come to pick me up. We had discussed going to an arcade the previous night. And we had driven around town. It looked like it was getting rainy, so he had explained that he wanted to go back to my dorm, to which I agreed. And we went through the security. I let him up into my dorm. It was around 1 at this point.
Let me stop you there. Can you tell the members of the jury, how do you go into the dorm? Once you get back to your dorm, obviously you have a room key, but are you allowed to have guests at Gentry Hall at Lamar University?
You would have to sign them in with security.
And did you do that?
Yes.
Please continue.
I had let him up to my room, which was on the 3rd floor. And we walked in. I had taken off my shoes, told him to get comfortable.
I'm sorry, when you got up to the 3rd floor, and I want to let you speak, did you walk up the stairs or was there an elevator?
There were stairs. Yes, that one wasn't working.
Welcome to the dorm. Okay, please, I'm sorry, continue.
I let him into my dorm and I told him to get comfortable. I had a Switch that I play on, a Nintendo Switch, and we played for around maybe 10 to 15 minutes.
What games you play?
Stick fight,
Okay,
it's a fighting game. We had played until it died, and he had asked to cuddle, to which I agreed. And then we were cuddling for around a few minutes at that point, and then he had moved me on top of him and started to kiss my neck. And
let me stop you there. He moved you on top of him.
yes,
Okay, please continue.
he had moved me on top of him and began to kiss my neck. Was very caught off guard at that point, and he had begun to move from my neck and kiss me on my lips. I was caught off guard, and
Cecilia, what caught you off guard?
we had discussed the previous night. He had discussed if I was what my comfort level was about certain things,
Such as?
such as intercourse, stuff like regarding this in a sexual nature. And I had explained that I don't interact that way with people unless it's someone I trust and that I know, or who I'm already dating.
Were y'all dating at the time?
No,
Y'all were only friends from the semester previously?
yes.
On that Sunday, when you went into the room, were you sexually attracted or drawn to him?
No.
But you just shared with the members of the jury that you agreed to cuddle with him, correct? You began to kiss. At that point, you were caught off guard.
Yes.
Why were you caught off guard?
I hadn't expected anything like that to happen.
Please continue.
Of course. And then he had begun to kiss my lips. And then he moved off from me on top of him. And then he had moved on top of me. And had begun to touch my chest area. And push my shirt up and my bra up. And touch my chest without a bra on.
Did you? After he was kissing you, Cecilia, did you lift your bra or did he push up your bra?
He pushed up.
He began to kiss your breast.
Yes.
Did you tell him to stop? why didn't you tell the defendant, stop kissing me?
I was caught off guard, and at that point I began to disassociate. I wasn't,
Why did you not tell him to stop kissing my breasts?
I was disassociated, I was frozen up, I didn't know what to do.
Because you've never had like an interaction with the defendant like this before, correct?
Yes.
Cecilia? Did you tell Kid Don, the defendant, although you didn't say stop? Did you please say continue?
No.
Did you please say yes? After kissing your bare breasts, what did he do next?
After that, he had told me to take off my pants, to which I did.
At that moment, why didn't you say stop? No, I'm not gonna take my pants off.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if anything would happen. I was scared. If I did say no, I wouldn't know what happened.
So you comply.
Yes,
What happened next?
I had taken off my pants and laid back down on my bed. And he put his hand into my underwear and proceeded to probe my genital area and and insert his fingers into me.
Did it start off with his hands over your underwear or under your underwear?
Started over and then reached it.
What was his position when he was touching? When he was touching your intimate parts, when he was touching your vagina, where was he?
On top.
Did you say stop? Did you say yes, please continue? What happened next?
That sorry. Well, he told me to take off my underwear, to which I then complied. And he had touched my intimate area, without underwear on. And then he had asked if I had a condom, which I replied no. Yeah. Then I had suggest that we stop as it had,
And did he stop?
yes.
Cecilia? Cecilia, I know it's hard to go back to that place and to the time. But it's very important that the details are presented, okay? When you asked him to stop, where was he when he stopped?
On top.
Was he erect or facile?
I am not sure.
What happened next?
After that, he had suggested that I give him oral sex, to which I declined. And then he had put my hand on his
On his penis?
feet.
Your Honor, I respectfully object to the leading.
Objection sustained.
Where did he place your hand?
On his Zoom.
Yes. When your hand was on his genitalia, was on his penis, what if anything did you do?
Nothing, I just had it there.
So I don't mean to be graphic, did you stroke his penis?
No.
When your hand was on his penis, where was his hand?
One of his hands was on mine and another was just off to the sides.
At this point, had he stopped, fondling and touching your vagina?
Yes,
What happened next?
after that, he had suggested that we stop, which I agreed and had put on sweatpants. Then he had suggested that we cuddle, which I complied with, and we laid down for a few minutes. And then he had asked if I wanted him to leave, to which I agreed that it would be for the best. And I had escorted him out. It was around 2:30 at that point.
So the entire income after being back at the dorm, after playing the Nintendo Switch, and from the time you left, took about 90 minutes or so. Correct. You did not ask him to leave?
He had suggested so if I wanted him to leave.
Can you share with the members of the jury? After he had done, after Dawn had done what he did, why didn't he just say, get the hell out?
I was completely disassociated that when I wasn't in my right mind and so many things were wrong in my head. I didn't know what to do.
You were frozen and you complied? After you walked him out and he left about 2:30 that Sunday afternoon, what, if anything, did you do? What happened next?
I had walked up to my door and
How did you feel?
terrified.
Go into that a little bit. You say you felt terrified?
Yes, I was
But
scared.
you,
I
sure,
hadn't-
go ahead.
I hadn't expected anything like that to happen after what we had discussed the previous night, and I was caught off guard and panicking.
What, if anything, did you do that Sunday?
Afterwards, I walked back to my dorm and sat at the desk in the room. And then I had called my friend Chili Spell because I needed advice if I was overreacting about the situation or being dramatic, and I mean,
She was your friend and you shared with her your experience
yes,
that same day.
yes.
What happened the next day?
I had woken up and had.
How did you, I'm sorry. We just walked it through, we just about done with this, okay? How did you feel when you woke up the next day?
Numb. Numb, mostly.
What, if anything, did you do?
I had gone to class and had excused myself, mid-lecture and called my mother about what happened.
You shared with your mom what had happened? What, if anything, did you do next? You spoke with your mom, and this is the same mom that you live with now?
Yes.
That you lived with before you went to Lamar
Yes,
and after you went to Lamar?
Yes.
What happened next?
She had driven up from her work. She had taken off at that point. And we had gone to the, Lamar, station, Lamar Police Station there. And had filed a report with Officer Mark.
Cecilia. Why did you make a report?
I was scared. I didn't want it to happen to anybody else if it did. I just wanted to feel safe again.
And in an effort to feel safe, you signed a Title IX form? Asking for a no contact order, correct?
Yeah.
And you did that the day after?
Yeah.
Now, once, the defendant Don left your, left the dorm about 2:30 that afternoon, did you have any other contact with him? Or did he have any other contact with you?
He had messaged me over our Instagram message.
And what, if anything, did he convey? What did he say?
Objection, Your Honor, and we approach.
I was, he has the object to approach, I would say, statement by party opponent.
Your Honor, this goes directly to the limited discussion we had before trial, approaching before we discussed anything regarding.
Told the jury that you did not say stop, correct? But you also did not say yes. While he was on top of you, why didn't you push him off?
I was frozen.
Could. You didn't expect this from a classmate, a colleague, an associate, correct? Okay, did he communicate with you later that Sunday, or did he try to communicate with you?
Yes.
Did he call you?
He messaged me over the Instagram messenger.
And what did he message you? What did he say?
He apologized and blamed it on lustful urges.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lustful urges.
Lustful urges. What was your response to him? Did you?
Didn't respond. He continued messaging me.
Did he call you at any point?
No.
Did he talk to you? Did you reply to any of his messages?
After the apology, he had asked me, how big he was. I responded that I was unsure before blocking him.
Was this the same day or the day after?
See,
After he assaulted you, he texted you to apologize by being lustful first? Is that correct? And then one of the subsequent texts, he said how big he was?
Yeah.
And at that point, you blocked.
Yeah.
After this, after you made your complaint, with the Lamar University Police Department, did you continue to go to class this semester? Did you have any classes with him?
No.
Did you see him around campus?
No.
Did you finish the spring semester of 2024?
yes,
And did you return in the fall of 2024?
No.
Why did you stop pursuing your art degree at Lamar University?
the incident had left a big stain on my time there. And I just wanted to be closer to home where I felt safe.
To change the place where a person had violated that educational space. What are you doing now, Cecilia? Besides, we know that you're working, of course, at the Chili's off of Gordon in Baytown. What are you doing now?
I'm doing real estate courses online.
Do you think you return back to school to pursue your art degree?
In the future, perhaps.
But not now? Because your hope was cut short?
Objection to
By
leading.
who?
Objection to leading, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
Who changed those? Who changed your desire to pursue an art degree at Lamar University?
Um.
Could you please point him out by identifying an article of his clothing?
Sure.
And where is he? Is this the person who violated you on Sunday, January 21st of 2024?
Mm.
Here in Jefferson County. We hope that you're able to continue to contribute to the art.
Objection to the narrative, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
Thank you. We'll pass it.
Okay. Mrs. Zuniga, you may
Yes.
proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. In short, good afternoon. You and I have never met before, have we? You and I have never had an opportunity to discuss any of the facts of this case, have we? How many times would you say have you had the opportunity to speak with the state about this case?
Maybe like 2 times.
Okay. More than once. You've met Mr. Williams, you've talked with Mr. Williams before today. And in those conversations, before those conversations, or even after those conversations, did you have an opportunity to review your statement that you made with Lamar Fierce?
Sorry, go ahead.
And have you reviewed that statement few or many times?
I apologize, Judge. That question is vague. She provided 2 statements, Judge, one written and one
I can
video
rephrase.
statement. We need to know which statement he's
Okay,
speaking.
objection
I
sustained.
can rephrase here. You made a written statement. And at the time you made that written statement, would you agree that you were instructed by Sergeant Martin to be very detailed in the statement? Now, I want to talk to you real quick. I know that you would agree that you testified that you and Kit were not dating. You would agree with that statement?
Yes.
But on this day, you guys kind of went on a date. You would agree with that? Okay, so he picks you up. He picked you up, correct? You remember the time he picked you up?
Around 12.
Okay, and y'all went driving around. And the reason why you would agree, the reason why you guys went driving around is because you kind of wanted to know what, if anything, there was to do in Beaumont. He was going to show you around. And after that, you would agree that there was a suggestion to go back to your dorm room because there was nothing else to do. You would agree with that. And you consented to that, didn't you? Okay. And so when you get back to the dorm room, when you get back to the dorm, you testified that it was necessary to have him sign in with security. And that's not something that he can do on his own, you would agree. So you would agree that you consented to have him come up to your dorm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, once you were in the dorm room, you guys agreed to play on your Nintendo Switch. And that does occur for a while. And then the battery on the Switch dies or something to that effect, correct? Okay. And so at that point in time, you would agree that there is a suggestion by Mr. Doan that you guys should cuddle. And you agreed. So you consented to cuddling. Okay. Now that cuddling, well, where were you guys playing Switch?
Stay quiet.
No, where were you guys playing?
On the bed.
Okay, so you guys were already on the bed. And is there a sofa or a love seat in your dorm?
No.
Are there any chairs or anywhere else to sit, or is it just the bed? Okay, so you guys were already on the bed and you would agree that you consented to cuddling on the bed. Okay, now, after you guys were cuddling, you testified that he moved on top of you, moved you on top of him, correct? And so when he moved you on top of him, you consented to You moved willingly on top of him.
No, yeah,
Did he force you
no.
to get on top of him? Okay. Now, at this point in time, I want to clarify, because I'm a little confused as well. You started talking about, at some point in time, you disassociated. Okay. Okay.
It's. I just did a court judge, it was,
Okay,
Judge,
It's okay. You're good.
no, I apologize, Judge, you went to an emergency call to the police department. May I, I'm sorry, may I have a moment, Judge?
yes.
Sure, Judge, I'll stand down here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. This is a nigga, you know, proceed.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Short, we were talking about, your statement that you disassociated. And by disassociated, you mean that you were not then really aware of what was going on, or you weren't acknowledging what's going on? I mean, what, can you give us some clarification on that? What do you mean by that?
I hadn't frozen up without out of body experience.
Okay, so, so you're on top of him. And at that point in time, you don't make an attempt to get off of it. And he, I guess, kisses your neck at that time. Okay. Now between the cuddling and you being moved on top of him, or being positioned on top of him, you would agree that there was kissing in between there. Okay. So your testimony to the ladies and gentlemen of this jury is that you guys were cuddling, and then the cuddling proceeded to kissing. And then the kissing proceeded to him moving you on top of him. Okay. So it wasn't just a sudden, you guys are hugging and then he takes you and puts you on top, correct? There was kissing involved first, correct? Well, I'm just asking because you just testified yes, so I just want to make sure that I'm clear. That's okay. I get it. I get it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your honesty. And so the kissing at that point in time, right after the cuddling, that's kissing on the lips. There's a kissing on the lips. And so at that point in time, you didn't tell him, no, I don't want to kiss. And in the line of your testimony, you'd not gotten to a point yet where you said you had disassociated. So after that, there's kissing on the lips, you move on top of him, he kisses your neck. And you did testify that you did not tell him to stop kissing your neck, correct? And then you would agree that, after he was kissing you and then kissing you on your neck, at some point in time, you guys are repositioned to where he is now on top of you. And at that point in time, when he repositions himself on top of you, well, let me back up real quick. Between the cuddling and you getting on top of him, you said that there was kissing. And so you would agree that at that point in time, before you disassociated, you consented to kissing. Okay, so at that point in time, your testimony is that you had already disassociated, but you remember kissing him. Okay, so then he's repositioned on top of you and he touches your chest without your bra on. He pulls, your testimony is that he pulled your shirt up and your bra. And he's touching your breast. Okay, and just to recap, at that point in time, you don't tell him to stop. Now, at this point in time, are you saying that you are already disassociated, or was it sometime before then, or was it sometime after that?
Oh,
Okay, so you're already disassociated. Now, none of this is conveyed to him, correct? You never verbally said, this feels weird, this is awkward, I don't like this. That is never said, correct? So before I continue, I have to ask, if you disassociated and your testimony, you were having an out-of-body experience, how do you remember what happened? And it's okay if you don't. But how do you remember what happened if you disassociated?
I remember it because it was, regardless of me being disassociated at the time, it was a traumatic experience for me. And it stuck.
Well, I'm going to continue and ask you, even though you claim to have been in this dissociative state, you said that he suggested you take off your pants. And you took off your pants. Did you take them completely off, or did you just pull them down?
I had taken.
Off.
Yes.
Okay. And then after that, there is some touching. You said that he touched your genitals with his hand, correct? And you told the prosecutor, Mr. Williams, that you didn't tell him to stop. Now, after that, you took off your underwear, correct? And was that at his suggestion? So he asked you to take off your underwear. He didn't take off your underwear, did he? He didn't pull them off aggressively. At this point in time, is he holding you down? Does he have your hands bound? Is he forcing you to do any of this?
Objection to charge is not forcible rape, Judge, or aggravated sexual assault.
I'm not talking about rape, I'm asking about.
Okay. Objection overruled.
Thank
You may
you,
proceed.
thank you. Is he holding you or restraining you at all in any way? Okay, so so you take your underwear off, and then you said that he asked if you had a condom. Is that true? And you told him no. And then your testimony was that he suggested that you guys stop. Correct? You're sure about that more than anything else? Everything else you're testifying to, you're sure about that as you are about everything else? Okay. Do you recall making a written statement to the Lamar University Police? And would it surprise you to know that in that statement, you actually said that you told him to stop? Not that it was his suggestion. Would that surprise you?
No,
Okay, so
I misremember.
you misremembered.
Yes.
Okay. So he says, let's stop. And then do you get off the bed at that point in time?
It's to, no, to stop it, to cover myself.
Okay. Did you put your underwear back on as well?
Yes.
And so your testimony is you put on underwear and you put on sweatpants.
Yeah.
And then you told him to leave. No. Where did you go?
He suggested we cuddle, and I agreed and went back.
So you laid back down on the bed.
Yes.
Okay. At that point in time, did you guys start to cuddle again? Okay. Are you still disassociated at this point, or are you consenting to the cuddling like you did before?
This is
But you didn't tell him, no, don't cuddle me. And did you guys start to kiss again? You did not.
No.
Okay. But he did ask you, per your testimony, whether or not you guys want to pleasure each other orally. And you told him no. And at that point in time, did he try to force you to do anything? Did he try to guilt you into doing anything? So you said no, and then that was the end of it with regard to oral sex. You would agree with that? Okay. Then you claim your testimony was that he took your hand and placed it on his peen. Okay, and you did not do anything at that point in time. Okay. Subsequent to that, your testimony was that he suggested you guys stop everything. Correct? So at no point in time did you say stop, did you? And at no point in time did you say no, correct? At no point in time did you say, I don't consent, correct? And then he left and you walked him out. Okay. Now when you walked him out, were you guys weren't holding hands or anything, were you? Okay. And so before you slipped into this dissociative state, was this kind of an awkward, did it seem an awkward situation to you?
Yes.
All right. Did you feel awkward about it?
Yes.
You had an opportunity to speak with Sergeant Martin. And do you recall, because you made mention of these messages that took place, do you recall Sergeant Martin asking you to preserve those messages? And did you preserve those messages?
I had blocked them, so I wasn't able to recover them.
Well, okay, so when you block a person on Instagram, you can no longer see their messages?
So I blocked him and deleted the chat.
Did you have an opportunity to show Sergeant Martin your phone? And did she get the information on your Instagram account? She did not. And did she ask you whether or not you could recover any of those messages? Did she have you sign any consent forms so that she could try to recover those messages or subpoena those messages?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you remember signing anything other than your statement, written statement?
No.
You remember signing the Title IX, which was the request for no contact.
Yes.
So you signed that as well.
Yes.
And other than those two documents, you were never asked to sign any consent forms to find evidence from your phone.
No.
Did you ever make any attempts to recover those messages from Instagram?
If I could try.
Correct. You looked at your phone and tried.
Yes.
But short of that, did you ever try to contact Instagram or did you try to, never did anything with
Afterwards.
it? And she never asked you to, did she? After that day, she never asked you to?
No.
I'm passing. the question.
Good.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams?
Cecilia, y'all did not hold hands before you entered y'all, your dorm room, correct?
Yes.
You did not hold hands and walked hand in hand out of the dorm room, correct?
Yes.
That encounter, that assault, was that intimate?
Sorry?
That assault which occurred while in your dorm room between entering and exiting without holding hands. It was that an intimate experience for you?
Clarify, Chief,
Sure. On cross-examination, as you did on direct examination, you said from like a dissociative state. When I ask you the question of was it an intimate, meaningful, like encounter? Given what happened before and what had happened.
it was meaningful.
In a positive or a negative way?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very, very brief recross.
Okay.
You mentioned, I believe, in your direct examination that you weren't attracted to Kit in that manner, in a sexual manner. So then why did you agree to cuddle with him?
I had girlfriends, they home sleepovers and we before I didn't believe it was that big of a deal to do that.
Did you hold hands with him when you guys were cuddling?
No, I mean, my arm was just over his chest.
Did you hold hands with him when you guys were kissing after you cuddled?
I'm not sure.
Did you hold hands with him when you were positioned on top of him?
No,
Did you hold hands with him while he was, when he was repositioned on top of you?
No.
Did you hold hands with him at any other time during this dissociative episode that you can remember?
No.
Is there anything that withdraw the question, just no further questions.
Nothing further.
Okay. May this witness be excused?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so see, you may step down and you have a blessed day. Okay. What y'all come to that? Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this will conclude the testimony for the day. And we're gonna ask that you be back outside the courtroom at 1 o'clock. We're gonna start tomorrow at 1 p.m. Okay? And so you're free to go. Make sure that you have your badges when you come. So at this time, everyone please stand as the jury exits the courtroom. Maybe see the court will be in recess. Okay. Okay, this will conclude the trial for the day. We'll be in, let me do this here. Court will be in recess until 1 p.m. on tomorrow. Okay, and this will conclude this trial. County Court at Law Number 2, Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding. Everyone, please have a blessed day.